Now, the national chairman of the party, Chief Edozie Njoku, joins us in the studio to discuss his party's chances ahead of the election, which is barely 22 days away. It's a pleasure to have you join us in the studio again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And may I say Happy New Year to you, even though we are in the second month of the year.
And same to you, and thanks for inviting
me. Thank you. We listened to your presidential candidate there talk about the reasons why this is taking off very late. I mean, 22 days to the election. The other candidates of the other parties have practically done touring a sizable part of this country. How much of catching up do you think is there for your candidates ahead of the general election?
I listened to the presidential candidate, Chief Chekwa Okore, talk there, and he speaks really as a candidate, which you will expect him to speak the way he did. It's going to be very, very difficult. And we can also see that the politics is playing out somehow. The national politics is playing out somehow. And what we must always bear in mind is that even if we are, wherever we are in leadership, we are representing various people. And as a party chairman, I need to be really feeling the pulse of the people that we are representing. So we really need to look deep in. We still have a problem. INEC are still recognizing Chief Victor Ikoyi. I don't know why. Some international people from international community came to ask that question, and they keep saying their website. And they said, well, the website, you are the ones who upload something onto the website. Now, why would the CJN, the chief registrar, the presiding judge of the Supreme Court call him national chairman? The presiding judge says that all the CTCs they are holding are authentic. The other man goes to court to say that, goes to the police to say that it was forged. And here I am still on bail on my own personal cognizance as the national chairman of APGA. So Nigerians should really know that it's we're at a very, 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 I don't know the word to use. Where we are now, before 2023 elections, we've got to be very, very careful. Yesterday, I called out the legal department of INEC. The whole problem is coming from them. I don't know why or what they have or who they are supporting, but I can't see why they are part of the suit in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court identified me both in writing and in judgment as the national chairman of the party, and they keep coming up with another narrative. You know, everybody is now asking INEC, what's going on?
So how much of this subsisting problem is going to stand in the way for your candidate? Because as we speak, we have two presidential candidates from the party, canvassing for votes. How much of damage has this cost you?
It's done a lot of damage. It's done a lot of damage. But you see, sometimes I truly believe in God, and I don't know why we've been held back. It's been so clear from day one that I am the national chairman, so obviously Chief Chekwa Okore is the presidential candidate. But there are people who really want to use politics as a business. And most of the times they have a lot more money than the normal politicians. So they find it easy to penetrate INEC, to go to the police, to do certain things. But they met the wrong person, because I'm resilient. As I said on this program, I will never take their money from them. I will stay consistently and follow it. And you can see, as long as I stay there, the truth is coming out drip, drip, drip.
All right, well, talking about the current situation of the party right now, have you gotten to the stage whereby you have started looking beyond the election? I mean, like how to repair these cracks that have actually come up, and how APGA can be able to reinvent itself after the election? Have you started doing that?
Exactly. That's been the major project. I wouldn't say we have APGA has given up on 2023. We've not. But my focus really is how we'll restructure the party. The good thing about that now is that most politicians in Nigeria, after the elections, everybody disappears. But I've told the party that APGA starts rebuilding from the next day after the general elections. We start restructuring the party, getting square blocks into square holes, and you understand, getting the right people doing the right thing for APGA. Because APGA is really loved everywhere, both in the north and the south. And the south is particularly have a particular love for APGA. You understand? And they're so disenfranchised at the moment. They're so confused. The Southeast are terribly in love with Peter Obi as a presidential candidate because he's been left there to be that. And we also have to take cognizance of that. We can't be blinded on what the Southeast are thinking because we are from the Southeast.
One interesting dimension to the APGA crisis in the East is, I'll try to dimension them in two ways, is when you speak to some persons, the general sense of disappointment that they feel about how APGA has failed to metamorphosize. I mean, what we see as the party in power today started from a fragment of regional parties.
Yeah,
and because they could bring something to the table, they negotiated an arrangement that then made them become a single force.
Yeah.
But APGA started about the same time. And there were lots of hope that it was going to be one force that would unite the Southeast Bloc and become a vehicle for those kind of conversations or negotiations on the national level. But what has happened is that it has dissolved into fragments, pieces of fragments, and has completely sort of almost lost its voice. And from some of the persons I speak to, the complaint is that those at the helm of affairs are finding it difficult to allow the leadership of APGA move to other states in the Southeast. They sort of make it look like it's an ancestral of Anambra State. What's your reaction to this?
I want to, I've said that here before, that when you bring the wrong man to lead a house, if you will see that everybody thinks people revolt against it. And we should be very careful how we handle the Southeast. Out of all the stations in Nigeria, I love coming to Daily Trust. You're northern, but I love it. It's one Nigeria, and I love the interactions. I love with the other young lady, really intelligent people from another religion, maybe another tribe. It's wonderful for Nigeria. But if you see what's happening in the Southeast is that you have a strong militant base there who are agitating so angrily. You have us who are politicians who the South, watch that our convention, you see that it is not, it wasn't by a crowd. These are very angry people. Then you go to INEC, you have 3 northern legal department staffs, Tamino, Abulaziz, and Hassan, who have vowed that APGA will not see will not get the recognition from. Well, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. Now, most people politically are very local. They are not that intelligent. They can't dissect. They will always look at things that way. And they will look at it that they're trying to stop us. They're trying to stop us. So which other way do you think these people can express themselves? The animosity in Nigeria is because we're not sensitive to people's feelings. And when you go to a party people truly love, and you take somebody from nowhere and put him for no reason, Supreme Court has given a decision, and 3 people, Tamino, Hassan, and Abulaziz, consistently in the legal department keep saying, giving wrong advice, and the chairman keeps saying, I'm waiting for the legal department. What do you think the man in Aba, the man in Owerri, the man in Ubise, the man in Onitsha will be saying? That they are trying to stop APGA from the north. And it's not. No northerner wants to stop APGA. It is just some selfish interest of some people.
Okay.
All right. Well, talking about interests of some people, and you actually alluded to it when you were speaking, and it's something that has generated a lot of concern across Nigeria, and that is the current security situation in the southeast generally, and what it portends for the election, the general election, when it comes to that. We just saw reports of a recent attack in Anambra where a 16-year-old boy was shot, and an INEC office was actually bombed using an IED. How bad is this for the southeast in general when it comes to the election process? Because there's a real palpable fear that people might not be able to participate actively when the election comes.
You know, when people do certain things, not that we're encouraging them, people sometimes do things out of frustration. They believe they went into PDP, they didn't have a voice. They went into APC, they never allowed them to contest for president. Then they come back to their party, which is APGA. They bring in one man, and the man now, the governor of Anambra State now says he's going to work with Soludo openly. Where the politics, Soludo has the right to say what he wants and work any direction. But the people of APGA believe strongly in their party, believe in that party so much that the only way they go and express themselves is exactly what you're saying. We're not encouraging it, but we must come back to the table and say, why are all these problems happening? And you will see that after the elections of 2023, if one is not able to express themselves, and the danger is that if Peter Obi doesn't win, you see, they will say, oh, no, they cheated him. If he does win, it will be, you know, so Nigeria needs to calm down a bit and reduce the tension in the politics. APGA situation must be addressed.
Talking about the APGA situation, the impression, again, across the political divide or among the elites from the other part of the country is that it doesn't appear like elites from the East are doing enough to help nip the crisis in the East in the bud. When I take leading the conversations to sort of calm that situation, the impression is, well, that will be the responsibility of the states, but you want to think that critical stakeholders from that place should be seen in leading some kind of effort to at least get them to understand, because like you said in your statement, the Peter Obi's candidacy, even though not from APGA, seem to have elicited a lot of excitement and hope.
It has.
And if that would happen, the Southeast must be seen to be in the position to contribute its quota to that movement as it is right now. What can be done from the part of stakeholders from the East to help assuage some of this anger, this tension?
You see, you used the word and I chuckled, I smiled, and you said leaders. Leaders are not a true leader is a leader that the man that is being led agrees that you are leading me. He's not the one we sit down and see because he has a red cap or he has a lot of money or he has done big contracts for Nigeria. No, they are not real leaders because they will not even say a word that those people will listen to. You see, most of the true leaders have been totally marginalized. That's why you have all this anger. If you notice, Chekwa Sokoria keeps saying it. Even the, what's his name, the Nnamdi Kanu was the London, the UK chairman of APGA. Yes, many of them. Now, when all these things were, you brought someone from treasurer to national chairman, people madness comes everywhere. Things must be allowed to go a natural movement. You understand? Let it flow natural. Then the people will stay and keep striving and doing what they are doing. And that's it. I keep going back to what's going on in Africa again in the Supreme Court. If you see the frustration in the people, the day this thing will be resolved in a short time, you will see the eruption of joy. And the people can sit down and say, what are we doing? Are we going this way or are we going this way? I can now sit with you across the table. You can now sit with the man in APC. You can now sit with the man in PDP and say, these are our people. How is it going to happen? You now sit with Peter Obi. How is this going to happen? But as long as there's no true representative of the people, there will be no dialogue. Any dialogue you're doing is in futility.
All right, well, thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show this morning as the National Chairman of APGA, as Chief Edozie Njoku. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
All right. Well, it's still Daybreak on Trust TV. We'll take a short break right now, and when we...